What is up, everybody, from our AT&T 5G virtual studios? Welcome on into Group Chat presented by AT&T 5G. I'm Susannah Collins, joined by Stephen Keel. Stephen, we are officially in the second half of the MLS season.
Well, listen, if the second half is anything like the first half, yeah, I'll sign up for some of that. Couldn't be more excited for it. What a first half of the season it's been, right? We've had so much drama, great goals. It's endless.
It really is.
You have to keep on giving.
It really, really is. In some ways, I feel like it has flown by, but then I'm also like, man, that was like April was a long time ago. You know,
right?
You know what I'm saying? But here we are. We have a whole second half of MLS seasons to look forward to, and we also were treated with some international games this week with Leagues Cup going on and CONCACAF Champions League. We're not going to dwell on the fact that perhaps MLS teams maybe didn't do as well as we would have hoped, but we always have Seattle. We always have Seattle Sounders, who beat Tigres 3-0 in a game that they absolutely dominated. This was the quarterfinal matchup, played at Lumen Field, and it was all Seattle Sounders in this game. They will advance to the semifinals of Leagues Cup, which will be held September 14th and 15th. For me, it was like quintessential Seattle Sounders performance, right? I love that Schmetzer put out all of his starters.
Oh, yeah.
It was a game that he wanted to win. We saw in SKC's match against Leon, which we won't discuss because that was a shellacking. He put out a bunch of young guys, which is in theory is fine, but in a tournament, you kind of need that experience. And I love that Schmetzer just went for it. He put out all of his guys. We had Rui Diaz with a Panenka PK.
Love it.
Who doesn't love that? It was just, and you know what I love about that goal too is that it takes so much swagger to know that you can step up to the line and pull that off. And that guy has been playing out of his mind lately. 11 goals on the MLS season, and that form just continues. We saw a goal from Freddie Montero, who is just a Seattle ledge. And then Nico Ladero with an absolute worldie.
Yeah.
A worldie, Keel. And it just, I don't know, this win just felt so good for Seattle, who have kind of been, I don't want to say slumping because they're still an incredibly great team, but they've sort of pulled their foot off the pedal a little bit in the MLS season. So this was a big statement win in Leagues Cup against a very good Tigres team.
Absolutely. It's a, like you said, quarterfinals, a win, which they got, puts them in the semifinals. And so there's tons of positives to take out of this. Right. They had one win in the last 5 games, so they'll definitely take a 3-0 win at home. I think probably one of the biggest bright spots is like the man we talked about, Nico Ladero, returning 5 minutes after being subbed on. What's he do? He just does typical Nico stuff and hits a banger from outside the box. So love to see that. And we've seen in the past with Seattle, and they kind of use these outside of MLS like tournament competitions, be it Open Cup or whatnot, to kind of springboard themselves into a good second half performance during the season, which is kind of scary, is because usually we see Seattle kind of slow out of the gate, and then, the second half, they take it up a notch and go all the way. Well, they were smoking hot out of the gate. But I do think there is another level for this team with the likes of players returning, Nico Ladero coming back, Stefan Fry hopefully should be back soon. So I think there's even higher bar that they can get to. So Seattle, tough opponent, and Santos coming in. So I've dubbed this the Hercules Gomez derby. 2 of his former teams meet. So I can't wait to see his Twitter account when this is rolling.
Exactly. That's going to be fun to listen to him call those matches. It's going to be definitely a little torn for our good friend Herc. So let's take a look at the MLS standings. Let's move it along. We're going to start with the East, okay? And we talk about them every week, but New England, look at this. They're on 40 points. They are a firm hold on the Supporters Shield at this point in the season. And the team that's in second place, Orlando, is 10 points behind them, which is kind of remarkable. So they are continuing to just cruise in the East. But if you look a little further down, Keel, you mentioned them last week, and I'm so glad you did. DC United.
Yes.
Okay. Unbeaten in their last 5 games. They're in 6th place on 27 points, but just right in that log jam of NYCFC and Philly and Nashville at 28 points. They play Nashville this weekend. This is exciting. And DC is one of these teams where it's like, the same way you talked about Seattle, how they kind of usually have a slow start to the season and then turn it on second half. Perhaps we could see that with this DC team. They've got a lot of exciting players. Lozada ball seems to be working, and I'm here for it, man.
I love it. I'm here to see that as well. So DC moving up the table, and we look at the West, it kind of, we talk about a logjam in the East. There's a little bit of a logjam at the top with the top 3 teams separated by 2 points. So I think that battle for the top seed in the West is going to come down to the end of the season. But the team I got an eye on, and you may not see him, but too far, is in 9th place, FC Dallas, right?
Hey!
I think there we go. For a lot of times we saw them down at the bottom of the West. They've won 3 out of the last 4. Including that big 2-0 win over the rivals, Austin, this past weekend. So FC Dallas moving on up. They haven't lost a game at home in over a year.
Wow.
1 year without a loss.
That's a crazy stat.
Fortress Frisco in full effect. So Luigi Gonzalez getting players back healthy. The guys are stepping up with the opportunities and performing. And, just moving and getting closer and closer to that playoff line.
I love it. We had Ricardo Pepi on the call-up this week.
Yes.
And it was so fun to chat with him about just the season he's having, why he's so excited about Dallas. And he kind of said the same thing. He was like, don't sleep on us. Like here, we got a lot to show. Also, can we talk about the fact that he is 18 years old? He's going to be participating in the MLS All-Star Skills Challenge against like Vela and Chicharito. Like this.
And, it's like players, I'm sure he's excited to meet and different stuff, grew up idolizing. It's like, well, now I'm going to be competing against them. So his dream season continues.
I know. It's incredible. He was so cute. He was like, I just can't wait. He was like, I'm really excited to meet Chicharito and Vela. He's like, he was like, I might get a little like starstruck. And I'm like, hey, same bro. Like me, we're in the same boat. It was adorbs. Check out that episode of the call
check
up.
it out.
Wink, wink. It's my little plug. All right. Let us get into some game previews because we have some awesome ones on tap this weekend. And right now we are looking at a Western Conference battle between Minnesota United and the LA Galaxy. All right. These are 2 teams that are both trying to just kind of shimmy their way up those Western Conference standings, currently in 3rd and 5th place respectively. Now, Mini, like DC, unbeaten in their last 5 games. They've only lost 1 time in their last 13 games. So
crazy.
Pretty good run of form. Galaxy coming off a draw against Vancouver. Here's the thing, though. They have never lost to Minnesota. The Galaxy have never lost. But they have struggled on the road this season, 3-4-1. What are you looking for in this matchup, Keel?
Listen, I'm looking forward to anytime Bebelo Reynoso's on the field. I love watching him. But I think when we look for Minnesota specifically is, we talk about their good form and it speaks for the results speak for themselves. But Adrian Heath wants his team to fight and to grind. And the players and the personnel have shown they can do that and get results doing that. Now you start to see, you add in the quality of a Robin Lod, of a healthy Franco Fragapane, Hassani Dotson, and of course, Bebelo Reynoso, who for me is one of the best players in MLS. He's one of the best at making his teammates and everyone around him better. The dude has a goal and assist in his last 5 games. So you add that combination of a fight and grinding games out with the quality that those players have. And they're very dangerous teams, and the results speak for themselves. So I think, it's going to be a fun game to watch. On the other side, LA. I tell you what, LA making moves, right? 7 points out of 9 points possible this past week. They're still in 3rd place, and they've been doing all this basically without Chicharito for a month and a half. Yeah, so they've got a lot of players stepping up, a lot of the younger players. Efra Alvarez coming back from Gold Cup with Mexico, put in a great performance this past week in the games. Julian Araujo has been fantastic all season long. So I believe, if you're the Galaxy fans, you're headed in the right direction. You got Dejan Jelavic should be joining the team shortly, a forward, 21-year-old Serbian international. And then obviously Chicharito coming back. So I feel like for Galaxy fans, you got to be pretty excited.
Yeah, you got to be feeling pretty good. I am so glad you mentioned Julian Araujo because it is time for our 22 under 22 stock watch presented by Body Armor. And we are focusing on that young man, the 19-year-old defender for the LA Galaxy. Now, he just signed a contract extension through the 2025 season, which is great news for the Galaxy. He's a right back, but he can also play wing back. He can kind of play in the midfield. He's a very versatile player. He's 17 starts in 17 matches this season, 4 assists for this guy. He's just been one of these. I feel like defensively in the last few seasons, the Galaxy, that's been an area of concern. They were a little leaky, as they say, in the back, and he has just been a really solid presence for them. He's also a dual national, Keel, which is and he hasn't committed either way to the United States or Mexico. So like Greg Berhalter's just like, hey, buddy, because as a solid defender, solid right back, they can be hard to come by. So, this guy, he's just the potential of this kid is extremely high. The ceiling is way up here.
Absolutely. And that's the $1 million question. It's like, will he, I know Tata Martino's has talks with them. Greg Berhalter has obviously had talks with him. He's repped the U.S. at the youth international level, but he has yet to commit one way or the other. Personally, as a U.S. fan, of course, I would love to see him in red, white, and blue, but he's going to do what's best for him going forward. But when you look at this player, right, he's an all-star, well-deserved. He's so crucial for what Greg Vanney wants to do in his system, and he's a dynamic fullback. And for me, just warms my heart because he can win duels. He gets in tackles. He's got a great work rate. But on the same side, he can do things offensively. He drives forward. He can whip balls in. He's got great delivery. So
4 assists. I mean, the guy's he's legit.
He's legit. And, I think you look on the field and just fantastic, a player, but then off the field as well, he's a phenomenal humanitarian with the work he does there, specifically with California and the farm workers. So you love to see that. But, his mindset, this sounds like he always wants to try to get better and just try to keep improving. It's been an absolute pleasure to watch him so far. And like you said, the future is very bright.
Very bright indeed. Great stuff, Stephen Keel. All right, the big news. We're kind of not going to focus so much on the actual game, but the big news is that Atlanta named Gonzalo Pineda the new head coach.
Yes.
The new head coach of Atlanta United. Now, Rob Valentino, who is serving as the interim coach, he is going to continue as interim head coach for the next 2 games, and he is also going to remain on staff, which is great news because he has done a tremendous job in this stretch since they said farewell to Gabriel Heinze. But I love this decision for Atlanta United. I feel like in the past, they've kind of tried to go after these sort of big splashy names with 0 MLS experience. And you and I have talked about the importance of hiring a head coach in MLS that knows the league.
Yes.
And if you look at, I can't remember what episode it was, but we have literally talked about it. We looked at kind of the top 10 teams in MLS, and every single one is coached by guys that have played in MLS, that have been coaching in MLS for a long time. And it does matter. It really does matter. It's a hard adjustment to make if you're coming from overseas to adjust to this this league and this style of play, the schedule, the travel, all of that. So I love this hire, but Pineda, he's a former Mexico national team midfielder. He's spent basically his entire playing career in Liga MX, but he has been coaching under Brian Schmetzer since 2017. And did you listen to his press conference? Did you see that?
I saw glimpses of it. Yes.
I got like a little like misty. He basically was like, I'm
know.
so glad you asked me this question about Schmetzer because I just want to like
Yeah.
say that this guy is my mentor. He always will be. Like, he has done so much for me. And Brian Schmetzer has always given this guy a ton of credit for the success of Seattle. Jillian Zakovitz, my good friend and podcast co-host, said that whenever she had covered a Seattle match when she was working for Fox, it was him that would kind of come over and give her the sort of inside scoop about adjustments that they were going to make. And he was always just so kind and generous. He is loved by his players. And I think when you look at the last two coaches of Atlanta United, they are in desperate need of a guy that can kind of bring that locker room together. And I think that Gonzalo Pineda is that man. It's not like the sexiest hire, but it's a smart one. And I really, really like it, Keel.
I echo to the 9th degree everything you just said. He knows this league. He played in this league. He coached in this league. He knows the player pool. He's coming from one of the best organizations and front offices with Seattle Sounders. He's been mentored and worked side by side with one of the best coaches in MLS and Brian Schmetzer. So I think he's ready for this role. He's a student of the game. He's a tactician. And like you said, and when you listen to his press conference and you listen to people who talk, who interact with him, I know got former friends who are former players or teammates with him, just speaks so highly of the character that he is. And you listen to the guys speak of just an awesome guy and someone that they want to play for. So I think that is fantastic. And I think you nailed it on the head with, I expect him to kind of come in. I think with the past, we've seen the coaching in Atlanta and the players sometimes button heads. Is that fair way? Maybe not always on the same page, but I
think that's fair to say. Yes.
I believe him. I see him more coming in and like blending in with the locker room, being together and not against it. So I think that's going to be massive. And a great hire. And I think he's going to have a lot of success with them.
Yeah. Again, cannot wait to see him manning the sidelines for that. Again, it's going to be Rob Valentino managing the next two games before he takes over. But it's going to be very interesting to see what Atlanta United do the second half of this season. But they've got a big matchup against LAFC, 4 p.m. Eastern. Let's move it right along to Nashville, DC.
Oh yeah, I like this game a lot.
This is the game that I'm most looking forward to. This weekend. And this is because, as we showed in the standings before, these are two teams that are just neck and neck, 5th and 6th in the standings. So this is a very important 3 points for both sides. Okay. So as we mentioned, DC on a great run of form, unbeaten in the last 5 games. Ola Kamara has been scoring goals like crazy. He scored in like 5 straight games. Nashville, though, they have been awesome this season. I shouldn't say awesome. They have been consistent. Okay. Just like super, super consistent. Only their second loss of the season last Sunday to Inter Miami. But they haven't lost consecutive matches since the 5th and 6th league games back in August 2020. So they haven't lost 2 matches in a row for like a year, which is crazy. But here's the thing with Nashville. They got 10 draws on the season, Keel.
Yes.
Which, if you can convert half of those to wins, then you are way up there in the standings. And I understand the value in gaining a point, but you also, you've got to also take advantage of a situation where you're in a position to win a game. And that's not what they have been able to do. So they're coming up against this DC team that's in a really good run of form right now. Yeah. And I just think it's going to be a very exciting and fun game to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, Nashville's one of the better defensive teams in the league. And like we talked about, DC United scoring goals, Ola Kamara. The stats on that dude is crazy,
insane.
Right? He's got 10 goals and a little over 600 minutes played. He's scoring a goal every 62 minutes, which is wild. So is it sustainable? Many people say no, but like, if he keeps scoring, then yeah. So, but listen, Losada Ball is here. Losada Ball is winning games. They've won 3 out of 4. The high energy press is fun to watch. And you look at the game against Montreal, a 2-1 win. Their second goal is in the game winner is coming off the high energy press. Montreal tries to play out of the back. DC forces a turnover, and then Ola does something special with his finish. But so it should be fun. Nashville, they like to play at home.
Yeah,
they're good at home. They're unbeaten at home. This game is at home. So it should be fun. And listen, we got to give a shout out to a friend of the show, one Dax or Dexter. Assuming he plays in this match, he will enter a special group. 400 league games played. 400. There's been only 5 other players. You got Ramondo atop, Beckerman,
oh my God,
Kevin Hartman, and Chad Marshall.
Wait,
that's it. That's the list.
That's an incredible list. And what a group to be a part of. Dax, sixth player in
MLS history.
That's amazing.
League games,
that is
crazy,
amazing.
So.
What a ledge.
What a ledge. So yeah, so listen, hopefully we get to see Dax make history. And then DC Nashville should be very, very fun, entertaining game.
Yes, it shall. Great shout, Stephen Keel. All right. So we wrap up the weekend with who doesn't love this matchup?
Yeah.
A little Cascadia Cup rivalry. Portland versus Seattle, 10 p.m. Eastern on FS1 and Fox Deportes TSN in Canada. I mean, these are always fun. These are always exciting. There's always drama. But the two teams, I mean, we kind of touched on Seattle at the top, and just how they've kind of like taken their foot off the gas just a little bit. Only one win in their last 5 games, collecting only 4 points in that stretch. I am not worried about them because, as we talked about, like they're getting guys back. We saw what Nico Ladero is capable of. Like, I'm not too concerned about Seattle. Portland has been an interesting one for me. It's a very, if you look at their kind of like run of form, it's just a constant roller coaster, right? And they're coming off a 3-2 win against RSL, but they've allowed 29 goals this season. And they're not defensively. There's just there's definitely some work to be done, and I feel like this is at this midpoint of the season. This is kind of I don't know. I don't want to. This isn't like the most important game, but it's one that can definitely kind of like set the tone for the rest of the season for them, especially against their biggest rivals. And they are capable. You look at that roster, it's just stacked with all kinds of talent. But they haven't been able to put together like a nice little run yet. And so it'll be interesting to see if they can start doing that in the second half of the season.
Yeah, anytime you're playing your rival and you can get a result, it always leads to good things afterwards. So, like you said, the RSL game, listen, did they finish that game how they wanted to? Probably not. But listen, 3 points is 3 points. And at the end of the day, what those numbers add up in the standings, and that's what's matters. So Felipe Mora keeps scoring goals, which Timbers fans have to be happy about. They also have to be happy that Sebastian Blanco is getting more fit. He's getting healthier. He's playing more minutes, which is great. So offensively, Santiago Moreno is on the way. So offensively, I think this team is going to be just fine. It's defensively. Can they, stop conceding so many goals, which will be I think will be the difference as they go down the line. So this matchup, Seattle, listen, we talk about offensive firepower. Seattle has that for sure. In this game, I'm definitely interested. Can the Timbers defensively slow down Raul Ruidiaz? But these games, listen, you kind of just almost throw the records out when these two teams meet. Right? It's going to be good. There's going to be drama. These are always very feisty matchups, and rightfully so. Two teams, two clubs that don't like each other. Should be fun to watch.
It should be a heck of a lot of fun. We also have some incredible other matches for you on tap. Let's take a look at the full slate for the weekend. Starting on Friday, we kick things off. San Jose taking on Vancouver. That one's a late one if you're on the East Coast, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And then on Saturday, that Minnesota-LA match, 6 p.m. Eastern on Fox and Fox Deportes and DAZN. We've got some other tasty ones on Saturday. Let's see what else we got. Oh, you're Dallas, Kansas City.
Yeah.
Come on, Dallas.
That's a big one right there.
They're going up against the top team in the West in Kansas City, 8:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus and DAZN. And then on Sunday, that Atlanta LAFC match, 4 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Deportes, and that Nashville DC game at 7 p.m. And then again, Portland, Seattle, 10 p.m. Eastern on FS1, Fox Deportes, and TSN in Canada. Woo, baby. I love it. I mean, who doesn't love a slate like that for the weekend, right? Let's get ready.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's the gift that keeps on giving, right? You're like, oh, what am I going to do this weekend? You're like, oh, there's awesome MLS games. I'll watch those.
Boom. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We love hanging with you. And guess what? We'll see you next week.
See ya.
See ya.